We are live on Facebook. Hi, Rita. Welcome to your show. And welcome to our audience. It is Friday evening, March 5th, 5 p.m. Eastern time, and we're here on today's episode of Margaritas with Margarita, a little appetizer to get your weekend started with 15 minutes of financial advice from Marguerita Cheng, CFP Pro, CEO of Blue Ocean Global Wealth Management based in the Washington, D.C. area. I'm Hope Katz-Gibbs, Rita's publicist and the producer of her weekly show on the Incandescent Radio Network and Incandescent TV. This evening, we're going to talk to Rita about a topic that is near and dear to her heart and many of ours: how to protect your elders from financial fraud. Rita, tell us why this is so important.
Thank you so much for having me here. I am on a mission to help prevent and detect financial abuse and exploitation. This is so important because so much of it goes unreported, and it truly takes a village.
Absolutely, absolutely. And statistics are really horribly sad, right? That there are $2.9 billion a year or more lost due to financial abuse from the elderly who get caught in these terrible scams. And today we are going to talk about the 5 most common scams that are likely to snag an elderly person so that we can all become more aware and protect our loved ones and also protect ourselves as we get older. So we can tell the audience that if they go to margaritacheng.com, they can follow along. This will also, of course, stay posted on her website for posterity and on her radio show on incandescentradio.com. So, scam number 1, the Medicare scam. Tell us about that.
So, Medicare scam, this has to do with medical fraud. And you can also say that it's the insurance scam. But the reason why I'm saying Medicare scam is because seniors, retirees over 65 are Medicare eligible. I know that people under 65 in certain conditions can be eligible, but the reason why I say it's Medicare scam is because all too often seniors are targeted. Sometimes people may call pretending to be from Medicare or asking for billing information and just say, hey, you can give me your credit card over the phone, or I just need to verify your social security number. I actually helped a client identify this scam. It happens with Quest Diagnostics. It wasn't Quest, but it was someone pretending to be from Quest.
Wow. And so in each of these 5 tips, you're going to give us a teachable moment. So what do we do if we find out that one of our loved ones is being scammed through this terrible Medicare thing?
So teachable moment for a Medicare scam is teach your loved ones not to give personal information over the phone, such as their Social Security, Medicare, and that information. If there's issues related to billing, you can be on the phone with them, but coach them and tell them not to give that information over the phone and that they want it in writing.
That's great. That's a great tip. And it's something that we should all be aware of. Don't give information that makes you feel kind of funny inside. Someone asked me the other day for I was booking something and they said, well, give us your credit card number. I'm like, that doesn't feel right. Right. So I think we all need to be super hyper vigilant about that. And that brings us to scam number 2, the funeral scam. What's that all about?
Oh, the funeral scam. So you can only imagine. And the reason why these scams, so when we think about it, seniors, retirees, they are vulnerable. And it's so important that we speak out about this because A, they're less likely to report it, and B, they are so vulnerable. And these scams can make the difference between buying groceries and buying prescription drugs. So that's why I definitely want to shed light on this. So the second scam, funeral scam, is sometimes someone will try to sell more services to a widow, either for her late husband, or to scare her into making provisions so that her loved ones aren't burdened. What's the solution here is do not go about this alone. Make sure you have a trusted family member with you, because people are most vulnerable, and you want to make sure that you understand what you're paying for. In fact, I can say here that CFP board asked me, they said, Rita, do you want to write an article about funerals? I'm like, not, well, I was like, I don't really want to write about funerals, but yes, I do want to write about it because it's so important.
Absolutely. And this is people get a big chunk of money invested in this. So what's the teachable moment for this?
So the takeaway for to avoid the funeral scam is, make sure that you understand what you are paying for and bring someone with you. That teachable moment, as I recall my late father, is he prepaid for the burial plot. So he knew my dad did this when he was in his 60s, but he knew exactly what he was paying for. He got something in writing. And the service, I mean, we paid for that later on down the road when he did leave this world. But the teachable moment is understand what you're getting and bring someone with you.
Absolutely. So you have somebody that said, can hear what you may not hear. And that's really important. And that brings us to scam number 3, the affinity scam. What's that all about?
Oh my goodness, so affinity networks. So basically, this can happen to any. This song actually goes very much unreported because affinity means perhaps someone from your church, your synagogue, your ethnic cultural group. A great example of this is Bernie Madoff. So you trust this person and then you invest in what they are proposing. And the reason why is because, well, you have an affinity for this person, you know this person, and they're taking an advantage of that trust and connection that you have.
Right. So what's the teachable moment?
So the teachable moment is just to be very wary. One would say, well, don't mix business with pleasure. But if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. So view these things with a little bit of skepticism. It is okay to be skeptical and ask questions. Um, and make sure that you take the time to vet these with a trusted financial advisor.
Yeah, absolutely. A financial advisor is always a good person to have on your side. And that brings us to scam number 4 out of 5, which is the sweetheart scam. Talk about that one.
So all these scams are so important to me, but the sweetheart scam is truly near and dear to my heart because social media and the internet is amazing. We can connect with everyone. That's the problem. It's easy to connect with everyone. And sweetheart scam is basically someone who is pretending to be someone they are not, and they are targeting people who are lonely and, asking them for money, and you feel like this person is in love with you, but this person actually doesn't exist.
Wow.
So, this is something that actually a lot of people are embarrassed about and they don't want to report it, but it's so important that we intervene.
Yeah, absolutely. And that brings us to scam number 5, which is the internet scam. Talk about that one.
So actually, one of my clients and I were talking about this internet scam. Is sometimes people will like contact you via the internet. Internet scam could be phishing. There could be information in the email. It could also be something as benign as, oh, your antivirus software has expired. Click here or just give me your credit card. And my friend is actually, he's a little bit younger than me. He's in IT. His mom is a retired school teacher. He's like, Mom, don't talk to these people. If you have problems with your computer, call me. So the teachable moment here is do not click on links or things that look unfamiliar to you, and don't enter your credit card information.
Yeah, it's absolutely critical. And it's almost like you can't trust anyone or anything anymore. You have to be so vigilant about it, no matter how old you are. So, what's the bottom line here?
The bottom line is just like what I started with, we need to be aware of all of these scams because the reality is it will happen to somebody. And it truly does take a village to help us identify so that we can detect and prevent elder financial abuse and financial exploitation. But the reality is, we're saying elder, but these things can happen to anybody. It's just our elders deserve to be protected because they may not even be aware this is happening to them.
Yeah, absolutely. And so what's the recourse? What can you do if this is something that comes to your attention that's happened to a loved one?
So, in some cases, if you believe that your loved one has been a victim of identity theft or identity fraud, and this has happened once, a very delicate situation, you want this is what I said to someone, you want to be there for your loved ones, right? You don't want to necessarily micromanage them, but you have to be there, just as a sounding board. For example, if your loved one is talking about this new boyfriend, don't question so that they shut down and don't talk to you anymore. But it's important, hey, tell me about how you met this person. And many times they may not have even met this person, it might be online. So I would say keeping the lines of communication open. Again, we have to be respectful of our elders because they're our elders, but we also need to demonstrate empathy and understanding and say the reason why we're asking questions is because we love you and want to protect you. So I think when we approach it from a place of care, um, people can tell that we're sincere and genuine.
That's absolutely, of course, straight from the mouth of someone who cares very deeply about her clients in the world. Marguerita Cheng, CFP. You can visit her every Friday for 15 minutes or less for a little taste of financial planning. This evening we talked about elder abuse and how to avoid it. And again, it's on her website at margaritacheng.com. And I am so happy and honored to be producing this show for you, Rita. So cheers to you, a little club soda margarita tonight. And we wish everyone safety and health and wellness as on the internet and in this COVID time of self-protection. So I'm Hope Katz Gibbs with the Incandescent Radio Network and Incandescent TV. Thank you, Rita. We will see you all next Friday for another episode of Margaritas with Margarita. We'll talk to you soon.